Alright, somewhat of an update with the truck. I'm still waiting on a tremendous amount of parts to arrive in the mail. Everything is back ordered still. What you gonna do? So, I had somewhat of a failed project. It hasn't failed entirely, but considering how little money I put into this, I'm perfectly okay with this. So what I've done is I went to Harbor Freight Tools to pick up those interlocking child playmat things, just to kind of put the whole thing over here. And I adhered it with some Velcro, sticky Velcro to the bottom. At face value, it was a good idea. Problem is, until I get my camper shell, which will take another whole bunch of weeks, it's coming off. So you could see how it's already bubbling over there, and may have to reevaluate that project. But I've only spent like 10 bucks on this, so no biggie. All right, so the other big change that I've done is I ordered bits and bobs for my Vector off-road and Factor or 67 design. I keep forgetting what it's called. So I've mentioned this in one of my prior videos that this sitting so high, like literally every single arm, is obstructing my field of view, and I really don't want to be spending so much money on this and then having to like lifting myself up like this, and just so I want this whole thing to go down. So what I ended up doing, I went to 67 Design website. By the way, 67 Design is really good quality but extremely overpriced. I think it's just absolutely absurd how much it costs, but I digress. Well, same could be said for Vector as well. But what I've done is I've ordered myself 1, 2, and 3 tiny little connector pieces that are going to drop all of this down. So this is going to sit more like here so that I can actually look over the hood. So the other thing that you might notice is I got my GMRS license and got the GMRS radio installed. This is Midland MXT 500 model that's sitting over here. Got my call sign and the whole caboose. So the antenna for it is actually mounted on my roof right there. Let's see what else I did. For the camper shell, I called the company where I ordered the camper shell at and asked them to add rails to the camper shell for the order. Thankfully, I wasn't too late to place that in. I called about a week after I placed the deposit. So that's going to give me options in the future. I don't want to be going ahead of myself quite yet, but there's a possibility I might be getting a roof top tent some point in the future. If I don't, at the very least, I'm going to be able to place recovery boards on the roof of the camper shell. That way I don't have to keep them on the inside. All the other bits and bobs are still on order. I did get a Maxi Track air inflator compressor from Napa. There's a lot of people that are, leaving ecstatic reviews about it, considering how fast it fills up tires and all of that stuff. So for the longest time ever, I had every kind of inclination to get the dual air compressor by ARB, but the price point is just absolutely ridiculous. So for the Maxi Track, it fills up your tires like 3 times faster and costs like 5 times less. So I went to keep forgetting the name. It's MOOR Flate so more flate kit. It's a whole bunch of hoses that you connect to each tire so that you could inflate and deflate at the same time. I could have done what other people are doing, by going to Harbor Freight Tools, getting the hoses and splicing and cutting. But honestly, for the amount of effort that in watching YouTube videos, I said, just get the right thing. I'd rather have it crimped properly, done properly. It even comes with a digital gauge so that it's a little bit more accurate. When I was in Moab and in Colorado, I deflated my tires, obviously. And one thing that really rubbed me the wrong way is that my deflator mechanism, where it pulls the stem out of the valve, it has a needle. When it's like 110 and it's hot as hell, any extra second that you have to like stop and put the thing in and check the thing and watch the needle go like this, no. I'd rather have the digital. I've actually paid like this is, I remember when I was buying it off Amazon, there were two choices. One was the digital, which cost a couple of extra dollars. The other one was the needle. So I'm like, should have gotten the digital. So with this Morphlate system, I'm actually going with the digital gauge so that I don't have to fiddle with this whole jumping mechanism. From what I understand, I already have the compressor, so I'm just waiting for the Morphlate kit, which is in the mail, thankfully. Still waiting on the toe setup. Still in the exploration phases for the 37-inch tires and the lift kit. There's a lot to be said about that. Unfortunately, I live in rural agricultural part of Florida where there's like legitimately nothing over here. So everything that I need is far, far, far away, like hour and 30 something odd minutes. I don't have the luxury of going over there, leaving the truck, coming back, going back. So I do have a motorcycle, and my vision was to put a motorcycle on the back of the Gladiator. I have a deck system for it and stuff, and just ride that back home. But the thought of driving like 40 plus miles in highway traffic, I really don't. No. Really doesn't appeal to me all that much. I don't go faster than 25 miles an hour on my little 150cc scooter, so I really don't know. So I'm still exploring several things. Number one, whether they have the parts in stock. Number two, the cost of the parts and the cost of the labor. And just so I've narrowed it down to 4-wheel parts in Tampa or Jeepsters in Tampa. Jeepsters is where I bought my front bumper at. I'm tempted to go with the Jeepsters. I've been told that allegedly the install should take a day. We'll see about that. But like I said, I'm in the exploration phase where I'm still all of this. So 67 Design have already sent me those little thingamajigs. So that's coming in the mail. It's just little things, nothing major. Just little bits and bobs, like I said. Installing the MXT 500 GMRS radio was actually not without challenges. For the price that it cost, I'm actually quite shocked that Midland, who's the company that makes them, and by the way, there's like other companies obviously out there, the wiring isn't long enough to reach your battery. So you then have to contend with extending the wires. And in doing so, I've done a cordial mistake of having run the original wire from where the radio is to as far as it goes. I pulled on the wire, in the engine bay. And then I wired it to the battery. When I went back here, that's a full power on my end. I'm like, wait, something is wrong. I pulled it far enough to basically get it back from where it was supposed to be, because I didn't tie this off or zip tie it to anything, to basically under the dash. So I had to cut the wires on this side as well and splice them in that way. But everything works. It's kind of interesting. The way that it works, like I'll show you.
An hour. Friday, partly sunny in the morning, then clearing. Highs in the lower 70s near the coast and in the upper 70s.
So, I started reading about how to use all of this and what the call signs are and what the whole. I'm not like one of those radio type people that, is like in it just for the sake of finagling with all the frequencies and whatever. But this will allow me to do what I need. And for time being, I stuck my call sign to the front over here, because apparently you're supposed to identify yourself every once in a while. That way I'll be able to, pick up the thing and be like, hi, my name is so-and-so, my my call sign, yada yada. So I'm hoping once I go to town, I'm gonna be gonna send my first like hello world message out there, just to see if it actually works. So that's kind of it for the updates. I wish things were moving a lot faster. I really wish. Unfortunately, they're not. But it is what it is. It's possible that the whole tire and lift kit situation will possibly, don't hold me to it, either not happen at all, or will happen really quick, or will happen with some delay. So I haven't quite figured out all about that. Something to think about. But at the very least, at least with that, I'm still using this time that I have to kind of people walking on the street. So that's kind of it for the updates for this week. I'll get back with you with more when the things change.